Hello, everyone, and welcome to the College and Beyond Real Talk with the More podcast. And if you have not already guessed, you are listening into our episode 8. And I am your host, Amor Carthy. In today's episode, we will be exploring Kamaria's journey from Atlanta to Alabama A&M, hoops, hustle, and sweet tea success. And today's episode is sponsored by Education Innovations. I am the founder and CEO, and our mission is to help guide your journey from college admissions to beyond. We help students and their families. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our special guest. Hey, Kamaria, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So what school are you representing today? Can you show the people?
The illustrious Alabama A&M University.
All right. So thank you so much for coming on. We're excited about the conversation that we are going to have today. So can you start out by introducing yourself and share a little bit about your background growing up in Atlanta?
Yes, so first of all, my name is Kamaria Sequeira, and I'm a business major at Alabama A&M University, and I am a freshman. So growing up in Atlanta, initially I grew up in Dunwoody, and I was in a predominantly white area, and I went to school with mostly white kids. And also being that I was in gifted classes, a lot of times there weren't a lot of other Black kids that had those classes. So I was kind of felt a little bit like an outcast, but I still made it work.
Okay. So you said you started out in Dunwoody, and then did you finish out your career there, or where did you finish out high school?
No, I actually ended up moving to Powder Springs, Georgia, my ninth grade year, and I finished out high school at McEachern High School.
Oh, nice. So we know that you were a basketball manager. Were there any other activities that you were involved in besides being a basketball manager? And what was your high school experience like?
Yes, I was heavily involved in a lot of different things. Not only did I do basketball managing, I also did film for football. I was in Ladies of Unity, which is like a club that empowers and uplifts young women. And I was also in FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America. I was in HOPE, which is Hispanic Organization Promoting Education. I was in the Language and Culture Club. Um, I also was the star. I won the Star Student Award for the Diploma Sale for Spanish.
Okay.
And yes, I was in a few. I was in a lot of other things.
You said a few. That sounds like a lot that you were doing in high school and that you were involved in.
Yes.
So you had a lot going on. But let's ask, we really want to know, when did you really start thinking seriously about college? And how did you approach the application process to college?
So honestly, college is something that I've been thinking about and kind of preparing for all of my life. Like that's always been a conversation ever since I was really in kindergarten, as long as I can remember.
Wow.
But I definitely started like going about the application process and really touring schools once I got to high school and after COVID died down. So it was between my sophomore and junior years that I was really starting to look for everything. And as for the application process, I really had like the best help I could ever ask for and ever imagine, which was by you. And
Thank you so much.
that, honestly, without you, I definitely wouldn't have been able to go through everything with such a breeze. And like all the tips you gave, the help with just little things like asking teachers for a recommendation letter. Like there were so many different things that you help with that really I feel like everybody should go to. Everyone should be known.
Oh, that's so sweet. I really appreciate that. But, given all of the things that you were doing in high school and doing the college applications, like you said, having a coach probably helped you balance everything.
Yes.
When you were thinking about college, what were the most important factors to you about, the schools that you might possibly pick? when you were applying? We know that you ended up at the illustrious Alabama A&M,
Mhm.
but what were some of the most important factors to you when you were choosing to apply to certain colleges?
So number one on the list, it must be a HBCU. That was my thing. I knew ever since I was little I was going to a HBCU, and so before even applying to any other school, I only applied to HBCUs as well. And aside from the sense of community and like family that I was looking for, I also was looking to make sure that we produce that the school produced successful people that also had my major and different things that were available to students. Like for example, at Alabama A&M, our career development services
Mhm.
is really really useful, really helpful. We get like 10 emails a day of different scholarships, opportunities, internships, and different things that we can just be involved in.
So
But
that's amazing. I didn't mean to cut you off. So you said community and you said the career center and your major. Anything else that was super important to you?
also the environment where I was kind of played an important role. And I didn't want to be in state. I didn't want to be at home. I thought I did at first, but once I really started thinking about it, I feel like being out of state is really what allowed me to blossom on my own and just move through life by thinking on my own and only going to my dad like when I absolutely need it because this just forces me to think.
Yes, yes. And I know your dad misses you, and he is also super proud of you because he posts about you, and I'm super proud of you. I know your first week in school or, your first month or so, I was up there calling you because I'm not gonna say I was worried, but I was like, oh, I miss her. Let me see what's going on.
Right.
Um, when let's see, if you could go back to high school, would you do anything in preparing for college differently? And if so, what? Mhm.
I definitely would. I would say my freshman year of high school, since it was virtual, that was something that was definitely a struggle for me. And if I could go back, I would just put more pride into my work that freshman year because it really makes a difference. It's super important, and it definitely lays the foundation for everything that comes after that. So when I was, looking to apply to certain scholarships, my GPA was something that was always, always like one of the number one things on the list that was considered. And because of my freshman year, I didn't take as much pride as I should have. That definitely rendered like that scholarship process for me. But I did still get one, so I'm very
Yes.
thankful for that. But I would definitely, definitely go back and take better pride in my work that first year.
Mhm.
And also, instead of more towards like my last 3 years of high school, I was very active, especially the last two. But
Mhm.
I would go back and I would try to be active throughout the entirety of high school, not just later on.
Okay, that's really good advice to the high schoolers that are listening and even parents who are helping to guide their children. So now let's move into your first year at Alabama A&M, your social and academic aspects of what's going on. How was the transition from high school to college, and was it what you expected?
Okay, so the only thing that was unexpected was that I would be starting college 3 days after I graduated high school. So I didn't have that time to really kind of let everything soak in. I was in high school, and 3 days later, I was living in Alabama starting college.
Wow.
So I feel like I didn't really have time to process everything. But I know that when I got here, I wasn't nervous, I wasn't scared. I met a lot of really nice people in the summertime, which were other like minded people that just wanted to be ahead. And those are the type of relationships and connections that I want to have and want to build while I'm here. So for me personally, I say the transition was a breeze. It wasn't hard, and
Mhm.
I definitely recommend that for everyone. I honestly think everyone should take a summer program or summer classes before freshman year.
I like that you said that because there's another young man. He's over at Georgia Tech, and he did the same thing like you. And he said it was, he met a good group of friends, and it was just a breeze, because by the time everyone came for their first, the fall, you already knew where everything was. So,
Exactly.
you know, um, now let's think about, let's see, what were your biggest challenges during your first year at Alabama A&M? And, were there any academically or socially?
I feel like my biggest challenge was having an online class because, like I said before, similar to my freshman year of high school, the online classes are just not for me. I'm a very in person, hands on. I like to ask the questions when I have them right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
And it also helps me to be disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
So I say the only class that kind of, I would forget about it. I would just be, I was enjoying my first semester. And that online class definitely, that definitely was the one that I would fall behind in very easily. But those in-person classes, if I'm in the class, I'm doing the work.
Right. Right. So you
Right.
definitely need in person. I like in person too, because
Yeah.
it's fun to interact with people. Oh, girl, your phone is blowing up. Everybody's listening to this, right?
Yes. And for socially, I met a lot of new people being here. And I feel like everybody that I've met, they all are different. And I feel like it's good to have those different types of people to hang out with because you'll have like your friends that you can study with, your friends that you can party with, your friends that you want to go to the cafe with, or just sometimes you just want somebody that, or we have people that we knew from high school, like people I was already friends with. So yeah, and some people from my debutante are also here, so I feel like I knew a couple people here, but I also definitely met a lot of new people, and it was nothing that was really hard for me.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Since you said you met a lot of new people, if like, would you say what's like Alabama A&M student population? Are they mostly from Alabama, or are they from all over the country?
Actually, Alabama A&M has a lot of out of state students. Most of the people I meet, it feels like they're from other places. We have a lot of Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis, New
St.
Orleans.
Louis. Okay.
Yes, yes, very. It's interesting. I was like, wow. And we also have a lot of people from Chicago, Detroit. So it's really different, and I love it. Like just hearing the things that people do in their own city. Like, what do you guys do for fun? Like, what type of music do you listen to? Like, so what was your school life like there? Like, it's really interesting. Like, I really want to know those things.
So what is something that you've learned from your classmate that or your classmates that you were like, oh, that's super cool? Like any types of music, lingo, types of dress that you've learned, like you were like, "Ah, I wasn't even aware." Huh.
Okay, I feel like specifically for Chicago people, I used to watch a Chicago YouTuber, and
Mm,
I didn't think that, I thought the way he talked and spoke and the lingo and the verbiage that he was using was, for the video skits. But when I met people from Chicago in real life, they really talk like that. And it was just really funny to me. And I thought that was something that was like crazy. And just certain like words that we use to refer to like certain items or stuff, it'll be different. Like, oh, that's what you call that? Like, oh, okay.
give
And
me an example. Give me an example.
like I'm trying to think of an example that's podcast friendly.
Oh, podcast friendly.
um,
So if it's not podcast friendly, if it comes back to you later,
yeah.
that's key. You can
Oh,
let me know.
and
Oh.
also, well, it's not just verbiage, but like other things that people do, like hairstyles. In Atlanta, all of the hairstylists are super big on what type of braiding hair you get. You have to get expression pre-stretched, like period. There's no discussion. If you bring anything else, they're not doing your hair. But I came
Mhm.
down here, and one of my good friends, she was doing my braids, and she was saying she hates that hair brand, and she actually prefers free trace, which all Atlanta stylists say do not bring free trace. So that was something that was also like, oh my gosh, like what? Like that, because they literally tell you they will not do your hair if you bring that. And then she's like, I only work with that.
And where's she from?
She's from St. Louis.
Okay, St. Louis. I mean, I never thought of a whole bunch of people coming from St. Louis to Alabama A&M. So like, wow, that's super interesting to learn about.
Yes, there's
Um,
scholarships here.
yeah. So if you think about, you already told us about how you adjusted to the classes, or, that was a little bit of challenge, the online, because they're not there in person. But
Mhm.
how did you adjust to the college coursework, and what study habits have helped you succeed?
So the coursework for college, honestly, this semester it feels a lot easier than what was presented to us in high school because a lot of things, um, like the tests and the quizzes, we can take those at home and online. So
Mm.
they're
You
very,
don't, you don't think that's harder? Like, I always thought that, like, if I had a choice between the difference of taking it in class and online or at home, I used to always want to do it in class because there's a finite amount of time. But that's not the case for you. It's actually easier when you take it home.
yes, because I have access to my resources when I'm at home, and they don't say that we're not allowed to use them. They say basically they know that we're using them, so
Mhm.
there's no reason to get a bad grade. But
Mm.
I still do good on my in person exams.
Mhm.
But another thing that was helping me study, honestly, I my dad is like a tutor for all subjects. So I call him a few times throughout the week and just I let him know what I'm learning, and then I'll go over any questions I have with him that I
Mm.
go over in class. And with him, with your parents, you always feel more comfortable just asking those types of questions. And he explains it in a way that I could really understand. Like I could really understand it. So I would say adjusting to the work so far my freshman year has not been a challenge for me. As long as you turn in your assignments on time. But
Mhm.
some professors they make the last day of the class the day that all of your assignments need to be turned in. So it's
Mm.
just having that accountability. You really have to do that yourself. You have to be self-disciplined.
Well, I mean, I don't think everyone has a dad like you. If wasn't he a, like, math or engineering major, something like that?
He's a mathematician and a physicist. Yes, he's a math and physics major, and he
Okay,
goes
Kamara.
to
So everybody's family or parents are not. You can't call. I mean, your dad is super smart. So I mean, that right
so
there, everybody can do.
we also have resources on campus. We have what are they called? Student tutors.
Mm.
We have a center on campus that we could go to every single subject. Every single subject, there's a tutor for it, and they'll come and introduce themselves the first week of class and let us know where to find them. You put their contact information, and that way you feel more comfortable like talking to them because it's somebody that you can relate more with, and it's your age, and
Mhm.
feel like you have to impress them in a way. Like it's okay to not know around them.
Right.
That's also very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love that there's peer tutors at your school, and like you said, that they introduce themselves and that, you feel comfortable with them. Would you suggest that if someone needs support, in school, that they go to those tutors or, support centers at school?
Yes, I would suggest that, and I would also suggest going to your professor's office hours because 9 times out of 10 they don't want to make your lives harder. They want to help you. They want you to succeed, and they like it when they like that people feel comfortable asking them things that they don't know.
Right, right. So you have gone to office hours?
Yes, I
Tell
have.
us more about that. I mean, I'm just so proud of you. I don't even know what to say because a lot of people don't go to office hours, but they need to. Tell us about your office hours, going to office hours and what that was like.
Honestly, anytime I've been to the office hours, it's always benefited me because even if I was a little behind on something, just explaining that to your professor, they'll give you more time, which really you might not have even been looking for more time. And they'll be like, well, you know what? I'll give you this long to do it. And also, you're building that connection with your professor. So the fact that they know that you're determined and that you care about your work and you care about the outcome, then they also will care about your outcome. And they basically would just not be as hard, I'd say, on certain assignments because they know that you're trying. And that's the number one thing. As long as you show that you're trying, then they'll
Mhm.
work with you, no matter what it is. I've never had a professor tell me, okay, well that's it. There's nothing we can do. Because
Mm.
I communicate with them. And I have that relationship with all of my professors. I think that's also very important.
Mhm. I feel like you know, everyone's going to want to come to Alabama A&M after you have told your story. They're
I
going to
hope
need
so.
look, they're going to need to give you more money because you are advertising in your own way.
Yeah.
Now let's move to your business and entrepreneurship. Like you have always been involved in business from a young age. What was it like to, help your dad sell and manage it, his brand Forever Homecoming? And if people don't know what Forever Homecoming is, they have the best mac and cheese and teas. What was that like when you were helping him at the farmers markets?
So honestly, now looking at it, I really miss it. I really miss my dad. I really miss spending that time with him. But I feel like doing those markets really, really helped me learn how to talk to different types of people, certain things to say to people to get them to feel comfortable with you and to like you and to want to support you. And
Mm-hmm.
also just skills with money and business in general, like how to run a business and certain things to say and not to say, and just how to go about certain situations in ways that don't hurt your business. And like learning how to have a positive attitude no matter if somebody's being rude to you or whatever the case may be. And yes, and it just, yeah. And it also helped me realize like what people support you.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does tell you who really cares about you, because support is very little. Support can go as small as just word of mouth, just telling somebody about it. There's so many free ways to support. And yeah, so I feel like it definitely like helped me see who was really there for me.
So when you say there's so many free ways to support, what are the free ways that you learned about that people could support your business, your dad's business, or just people in general who are in business? What were those free ways?
So, like I said, word of mouth, just honestly, just letting somebody know, like, okay, you maybe don't like sweet tea, but you know what? My cousin loves sweet tea. I'll let my cousin know about your business because I love supporting a black business. And
Mm-hmm.
you can always like people's posts on social media. You can comment, you can share. Those are all free ways of supporting a business. And the more you comment, the more you share, the more you like, that pushes it out to more people. So whether you think it's just a small gesture, that really, really helps.
And she has never lied. That is so true. Um, what inspired you to start selling sweet tea at Alabama A&M, and how did you set up your own market?
Um, well, I had my own market back when I was in Atlanta, but at Alabama A&M, it's definitely a lot harder to sell here as a freshman due to the fact that I don't have a kitchen.
Mm, mhm,
It's really just a kitchenette. So the times that I did sell on campus here, it was times that I brought the bottles up from home and brought it down here. But I've sold out every single time, and people love it. People still ask me about it. Somebody asked me yesterday. They were begging. They were begging for some
I
sweet tea.
mean, were they asking for was it the peach lemonade or something? I tasted it last week from you. I was like,
The
"Oh,
peach tea lemonade, yes, that is our best seller.
well, I'm gonna have to get some from your dad, after I get off the show." Um so you already told us about your challenges running the, business at school. Is the kitchen is the biggest, thing.
Yes.
And, what have you already told us about your biggest wins that you have sold out, everything. Do you see yourself continuing in the food and beverage industry, or do you have another business aspiration?
So I do want to eventually take over my dad's business. I do want to keep that in the family. I like being a part of that, but I also do want to venture off and do my own thing. I my dream is to have a black owned luxury beauty supply, because I feel every time you step into a beauty supply, all of the owners, all of the workers, they're usually Asian, but the black community is the number one market, the number one supporters of that. And I feel like we should circulate that money into our own community, be putting money into our own pockets, and not have that industry so elitist, because not only are they over the beauty supplies, but the hair vendors, the lash vendors, the vendors for a lot of the products that they have in those stores are all dominated by Asians. And
Mhm.
we're the consumers of that group. So I hope that we could just make a sort of a shift. And I eventually do want to own my own black owned beauty supply. You won't feel you won't feel like somebody's trying to accuse you of stealing. Like there's a safe space, and you'll feel good there. You'll feel welcome there. Like you'll want to be there. And I also do want to just do little things on the side, like rent out properties like Airbnbs and just have passive income,
Mm-hmm.
not just one stream. Like I want to have multiple streams of income.
Look at okay, multiple streams. You know about
I'm
business.
trying to create generational wealth. Yes.
Okay, yes, and that's what it's all about, creating generational wealth. And I
Yes.
like how you said, I want more than one stream of income. People don't understand if you have more than one stream of income, if one gets cut off, like okay, no problem. I could just up my other one. And if you have more than a few, then you got them all flowing at the same time. I like what you said about the aspiring to become a beauty store owner, but I'm feeling like you have something bigger that you don't even know is on the horizon. And I'm thinking even bigger than that. So you talked about like the hair, the lashes, and all of those things being made by other people. I hope and pray that somehow, some kind of way, and I'm speaking it into existence,
Mhm.
that you can get into the business where you become the supplier of the actual hair, the lashes. Because I don't think I've ever heard of any actual suppliers because yes, you see black folks that are selling hair or lashes, but we're not the supplier, the
Exactly.
manufacturer of it. So I think that I see that as your even bigger future that you have not thought about that I'm putting out there on the horizon for you.
Well, I have thought about that, like that those are all elitist, and I want all most of, if not all of the products there to be black owned.
Mm. And
Yeah.
I like the fact, I mean, this could be like you said, generational, but then you have your mathematician, scientist, dad, or whatever, and you're at Alabama and A&M. You don't know who you're going to meet in college that is also a scientist and can create, lashes and things of that nature for us that aren't
Mhm.
harmful. Because I don't know if have you seen those stories about how harmful the fake hair that is produced with all of these
Yes.
chemicals are.
Mhm. Cancer.
So
Yes, I've seen those.
yeah, so it's going to be amazing. So now let me see if you can give your younger self, one piece of advice before starting this journey, just going from high school to college, to your career, what would it be?
Um, I feel like one piece of advice I would give myself is to just make sure that I stay dedicated and that when I have goals, to make sure that I'm referring back to them and that I complete them. And don't start something but not finish it. So I feel like that's super important. Just don't start something and not finish it. So yeah, because everything is a learning experience. Even if you finish it and realize you don't like it, at least you learn from that. Okay, this is something I don't like.
I love that. So where can listeners connect with you or support your business or businesses? Because you said I have streams of income. Okay.
So the biggest way I would say is on Instagram, Forever Homecoming. That is our Instagram. And also you can find the products online at www.foreverhomecoming.com. And there's also a TikTok account that is called Forever Homecoming where we post things on there. And also at different farmers markets. Right now, the Dunwoody Market is the only one that's open right now. But we also do Sandy Springs, Smyrna, Alpharetta, and I believe that's all so far.
So you told the listeners where they could connect with you to support your business. What about you? Because I think they're going to want to follow you.
um, you can follow my Instagram. Is my first name underscore last name. So Kamaria underscore Sequeira.
Okay. And then why don't you finish this podcast for us and give us any final words of encouragement for young entrepreneurs and students navigating college life?
I would say don't give up. Don't give up, and don't let the fact that people around you aren't supporting you stop your motion, because somewhere there will be people that love what you're doing. So don't give up. You just got to find the right market and the right thing, and you'll definitely succeed.
Well, I love that. And thank you so much for this episode. And we'll see you on Instagram.
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for having me.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.